Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Season 2 of the Good Talkers podcast. My name is Ashton Haugen, and as always, I am joined by the incomparable Tessa Livingston.
Hello, what a fun word.
Yeah.
The unimaginably talented Deanna Cooney.
Wow. Hi.
And then there's Jordan. No, I'm kidding. I love Jordan.
Yeah, I was so ready for something amazing. I was so ready.
No, Jordan is fantastic. Our wonderful, amazing producer, Jordan.
Hey, guys.
Today we're having a little bit of fun, if you couldn't tell. We're a little giggly and fun in the studio today because we actually have decided we're going to do kind of like a little game show lightning round of what we are doing for what we do specifically for some of our warm-ups. There's a lot to go through in this episode. We have a lot to talk about. We always have a lot to talk about, but we particularly have a lot to talk about on this topic. So we're kind of trying to make it like a lightning round where we can get through a lot, get you guys a lot of information about warm-ups and different exercises and why they're important. And get through as much as we can in a timely fashion because we are called the Good Talkers for a reason. We like to talk. So, all right, first, let's just briefly touch on what is the point of a warm-up, just so that we can get that out there and get that behind us. What is the point?
The point is to prepare you for an activity that you're about to do. That's how I like to say what a warm-up is.
Yep.
Perfect. It's a warm-up. It's it's preparation to do what you're about to do, whether that's athletics or whether you're going to be doing it for in your vocal booth. It's to prepare you for what is to come. Now, what I love about the way that you guys particularly teach warm-ups and about voice is that you break it down into different subsystems. And we're going to be talking about these different subsystems today. And that is what Jordan is going to time us on. So there are 5 different subsystems. We're each going to talk about them and touch on them a little bit. And Jordan's going to time us. And when we are out of time, Jordan, what sound will you make when we must move on?
Because it's a party,
the sound.
right?
That's going to give me a fright
This
every
horn
time.
is going to break.
It's a warm-up party. Let's go.
It's a warm-up party. So when we're out of time to talk about our particular part of each subsystem, Jordan's going to make that sound and we're going to move on to the next person because we want to get you guys as much information as possible. Sound good?
Yeah.
Everybody?
So good.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So we don't know how this is going to go. So hopefully this is cool and not like a complete disaster.
So the 5 subsystems, let's just quickly say what they are before we
okay.
dive into talking about each of them. So
Perfect.
We've got mindfulness, right? Which is obviously a psychological kind of subsystem, right? The other subsystems are physical. We've got respiration, which is your breath. We've got phonation, which is the vocal fold level and where the sound is like created. We've got resonance, which is about like where the sound is vibrating the most in your system. And then we've got articulation, which is about the shaping of the sound that gets produced at your vocal folds and supported by your respiration.
So get your thinking caps on because this is going to be a very educational episode. I hope you guys all enjoy it. So the first subsystem we are going to talk about is mindfulness. And Jordan, if you will go ahead and start the clock. We have 2 minutes on the clock and getting ready, and I'm going to pass it to Tessa. Go!
Yes. All right. So when I'm talking about mindfulness, one of my favorite practices is dancing. Reason being is that when we sometimes come into our practice, we bring all of our stuff from our outside lives into our practice. And a really fantastic thing to do is to, 1, sweat it out, get your heart rate up, and start changing your natural composition from the outside world. So I'll put on something. Personally, I'm a house girl. I love me those house tunes. Yeah. So, either that or something like real grungy. So it's like real, like, hip rolly kind of shit.
Nice, get down dirty.
Yeah. So that's my thing. That's what I really like to do. And then what I allow that to do, once I've got my heart rate up, and when I say dance, I mean fucking move. Don't just like sit there and sway. actually move, get your heart rate up. And then what I do is that I sit and I allow the breath to settle inside the body and just feel it happening. And as that's happening, I put in like a nice like mantra inside my brain that says something like, I'm ready to practice, I'm ready to play, I'm ready to explore. So that is how I do my mindfulness. Am I under time?
Yes. You've got 55 seconds to go. Can she fill it up?
Let's have a dance party for the next 5
Dancing.
seconds.
Yeah,
boy.
That's enough of
Right.
that. Next.
Okay, so the way that I approach mindfulness is really very much about getting into my body and being really present. So the dancing thing relates really, really closely to this because it puts you in touch with your physicality, right? So the way I like to do it is I like to stand, take my shoes off so that I can feel the ground under my feet, right? I give my toes a little bit of a wiggle. I make sure that my weight is distributed evenly between like all of the kind of points on my feet so that I'm really connected to the ground. And then I imagine roots coming out of my feet and traveling down into the ground. And it really connects me and grounds me. And then I just make sure that I'm aware of every little thing that's going on in my body. So I connect to the feel of my heart beating. I connect to the feeling of my ribs opening and closing outwards and inwards and in a 360-degree kind of perspective. I really feel all of the stuff that's going on in my body. I feel my breath moving in and out of my throat and my mouth or my nose, however it is that I'm breathing. I make sure that I'm aligning myself. So I often, and this is a Patsy Rodenberg thing, right? I often imagine that my head is like a ping pong ball and it's really light and floaty. And that allows my body to kind of like lengthen and extend. And then I run my awareness through my body. I let my shoulders drop off and just hang off my skeleton because that's what your bones are for, right? Your muscles don't really need to hold you up
30
all
seconds.
of the time. Oh God, I get a 30-second warning. My word. It's because I talk a lot. And I just allow that awareness to move all the way down through my body, make sure that my shoulders are sitting nicely, my hips are loose, my knees are unlocked, right? And that my feet are really connected to the ground. And being in my body like that, being really present, allows me to be ready and able to step into whatever it is that I'm about to do.
Next.
Awesome.
Yes.
Timing. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. My mindfulness thing that I like to do is very similar to Deanna's. It's a body scan. And I like to add into my body scan a tensing out my body and then releasing technique. So to me, just mindfulness overall just means awareness of my body, awareness of what's going on inside of it, inside my body, inside of my mind, being completely aware of everything that's happening in the present moment. That to me is mindfulness. So when I talk about doing not just a body scan, but you're adding in attention and release, it's for those moments that you feel a lot of tension in your body. So literally I will do a complete body scan. I will go start from the tippy tips of my toes and I will close my eyes and start to breathe and really feel how it feels. My body. So what does it feel like to feel the ground underneath my feet? What does it feel like to feel my toes inside of my socks? What does that feel? And then you move up to your feet. What does that feel underneath your feet? Move up to your ankles. What do your ankles feel like? What do your legs feel like? And then you go up to your entire body, up into your head. In addition to that, you can also add what's called a tension and release. So you can do the same thing starting with your toes. You can curl them up real tight and then hold it for a
30
couple seconds and then you release. And it just helps the tension release inside of your body. I'm ignoring Jordan. If you can. It helps the tension release inside of your entire body and so that you can feel that tightness of tension. And when you release and you let it all out, it's just relaxing. It's this just relaxing calmness that comes over you that helps you prepare and be mindful of how your body feels. Did I make it?
You made it 5 seconds to spare.
Yes.
Should we go in the same order?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
as it's really funny because I feel like being voice actors has really helped us with our timing because, like, when someone says you got to get this spot in under 30 seconds,
we
like,
know what
our
30
internal
seconds is.
timing's really good. Okay, moving on. That was really good, guys. Another lightning round number 2, where we are going to talk about the next subsystem, which is respiration. Take it away, Tess.
Yes. All right. Well, respiration for me, just to preface this, I would typically do release breathing first because it is important to release muscles before you activate them. But what I like to do for my respiration portion is diaphragmatic activation. And this you can do really quickly, really easily. So you use an S sound, so a S, like a snake, like a Sammy the snake. Oh, I didn't need to do that, but that's okay.
It was fun, though.
So,
I'm a snake.
and I'm a snake.
Sorry.
I loved that video. Oh, I'm running out of time. So, what you do is that you take a nice easy breath into the body, typically aiming for your lower belly area, taking a breath in through the nose, and then using your ear to make S sounds in a staccato way. And what you should be able to feel in your belly is a contraction and a release, a contraction and a release. And what we're doing is that we're activating that part of the body to get you ready for voicing. What doesn't need to happen during this exercise is your shoulders going up and down towards your ears with activation. All that should be happening is that your body pulses up and down because of the effort in your diaphragm, but not because your shoulders are activating. So have a try now. Look at yourself in the mirror, go s, 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 and all you should see is yourself like bobbing up and down like you're an apple in water.
But your head will move at the same rate as your shoulders do, right?
Yes.
Because
30
it's
seconds.
a whole body movement.
A whole body movement. And then what you can practice with is going what I like to call a short, short, long. So s, 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 s. Because on that long hold, your body will contract and hold to make that sound. And this is really helpful because we're starting to mimic voicing, because on voicing, we're using a constant out breath. And that is my one dance, buddy, because I finished in time.
Let's have a dance. Woo.
You were early. 5 seconds again.
Oh
You're
my
on
God.
point.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Deanna.
All right, so I really, I have a million things to talk about around breath. So, but if I was just going to talk about one thing, pelvic floor, super, super important. Hardly anybody really understands the link between the pelvic floor and breathing. But your pelvic floor is a diaphragm, just like your thoracic kind of diaphragm is a diaphragm, right? And they're linked. They're actually joined by all the other muscles in your torso. So your abdominal muscles and the muscles around your back and your oblique muscles and that kind of thing, they connect your pelvic floor to your thoracic diaphragm. And it's actually impossible to get good diaphragmatic movement when your pelvic floor is super engaged.
Preach, Deanna.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I want everyone to do right now is squeeze like you're holding on a wee, right? You're trying real hard not to go to the toilet. Now try and take a really deep breath. And what moves? Your upper chest moves and your shoulders move, right? You do it all in your chest and your throat. Because now let go of your diaphragm. Now let go of your pelvic floor. Now try and take in a nice deep breath. Feel how much lower that breath sits in your body now.
Wow.
So it's really, really important that before you even step into a voicing space, you make sure that your pelvic floor is able to release and contract, because that's intimately connected to the ability of your thoracic diaphragm to release and contract. They kind of work opposite each other. So when you breathe in, your thoracic diaphragm contracts and flattens, and your
30
pelvic
seconds.
floor softens and releases. And it goes the other way when you're breathing out. Your thoracic diaphragm softens and lifts, and your pelvic diaphragm contracts and lifts, right? So you want to make sure that you're on top of both of those things and you're thinking about your pelvic floor as much as you're thinking about your thoracic diaphragm.
I'm not going to wait forever. I thought about waiting for long, but you're
And
10
I went
seconds
really early.
It's a long hold.
If I may say so, a lady after my own heart with the pelvic floor release. It's so important, and it's so, just singing all the praises.
That's
I love
enough
it.
out of you. Ashton.
All right, I'm on it. Okay, so my breathing, the breathing technique I use often, and it goes really hand in hand with mindfulness, if we're being honest, is I like to do what some people call box breathing or square breathing. So it's actually really kind of, it's a little bit more difficult. It's not difficult. Forget that I said that. I wish that I could show you like a diagram of what I'm talking about, because I'm such a visual person. Like if you can see it, I feel like it would be easier to explain. However, it's as really simple. I'm making it super complicated, and I don't know why. So for box breathing, you're going to...
You're running out of time, Ashton. You're running out of time.
I know.
It's going.
Oh my God. All you got to do is this. You got to breathe in. You start out with 4 seconds. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 4 seconds. You're going to breathe out and exhale for 4 seconds. And then you're going to hold it again for 4 seconds. And then you're going to do that in tandem over and over for 4 seconds. Now, once you get 4 seconds down and you feel like, oh, that's a breeze, super cool. You can move up to 6 seconds, up to 8 seconds, whatever you feel comfortable with, in order to stretch out your muscles, stretch out your, to expand. Well, first, you need to make sure you're breathing into your belly, doing your diaphragm, kind of what we've been talking about so far, because that's going to help you extend your breath. It's going to help you practice a lot so that you don't have to take as many breaths in
30
when
seconds.
you are speaking. When you're speaking, and it's going to help you be able to extend your speech for longer periods of time without having to take a breath in. It's really also great for singing. If you're a singer out there, really great for holding longer notes. And also you can do this in tandem with your mindfulness techniques. It works really, really great. So you can like kill 2 birds with one stone. Ooh.
Well done.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, really, really good. And
That wasn't well done.
I know we're not
That was
supposed to be
terrible.
adding things in, but that's so good for your nervous system as well.
Yeah.
Like it really helps settle your nervous system. So if you're ever like in this really escalated nervous state because something's happened and you've gotten real nervous in the booth, a couple of rounds of box breathing will immediately calm down your nervous system.
Yeah, because it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you go from a state of fight and flight to a state of rest and digest.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now moving on to the next subsystem, which is phonation. And I'm going to pass it over to Tessa. Maybe you can give us a little tiny quick explanation of what that is for all of our listeners. And go!
Yay! So phonation literally means source of sound. So what is happening is it's your vocal cords coming together to vibrate. If everybody takes their 4 fingers and places it on the front of their throat really gently and makes an S sound, you should feel no vibration under your fingers, which means that you are not phonating. There is no vibration. What I'll get you to change it to is a Z. Zzz.
Ooh. Yeah.
And now you can feel vibration under your fingers, which means that you are phonating. The source of sound is vibrating to produce sound. So my thing that I like to focus on for phonation is glottal efficiency. And what that means is your cords closing in a way that is healthy and safe for sustaining your voice. So this is what it sounds like. I'll add a little H before a vowel. So I'm going ha, 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 like this, and making sure that my cords are closing in a nice, soft, easy way. Because if they're not, it can sound breathy like this. Ha, 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 ha. And that's not helpful. That's not efficient voicing or efficient glottal closure. Or it can sound a little bit like this. Ah, 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 ah. And that sounds really harsh and hard.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm adding a slight H before my vowel so that my cords are closing in an efficient and safe way. So it sounds like this. Ha, 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 ha. And it's really helpful because it makes sure that we're not whacking those chords together and making them sore before we've even started voicing. If you're not quite sure how to add that little H in before, what I can recommend that you do is that you put your hand really close in front of your face, almost touching your nose, but not quite. And I want you to breathe on your hand as if your hand is an ice block and you're trying to melt it. And you want it to be as silent as possible. And then you add in your vowel. So nice and silent breath.
30 seconds.
And you should get a nice soft closure. I'm done.
Great. I have something to add to that.
Yeah, go for it.
Because you can do it on a sentence. You can pick a sentence with lots and lots of A sounds like Adam ate an apple, right?
Perfect.
And you can add the like Adam ate an apple, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard and it's weird, but it gets you into the process of like adding that softer glottal kind of engagement into the way that you speak. Because otherwise you might wind up saying, Adam ate an apple, right? And it gets really hard.
Your time is up, and it wasn't even your turn.
I know. But that's
Next.
okay.
But now it's your turn.
Because I had some
Okay.
time left. All
Go
right.
for it.
So my contribution to the phonation subsystem kind of warm-up thing is humming, right? Now, I love humming because it's a super, super, super gentle way to wake up your vocal folds, get them activated, get them working with each other. It's a really gentle way to get blood flow into that space. And just like any other part of your body, we've got muscles, we've got tissue, and they all need blood flow to be really, really functional and to be able to respond effectively. It's like if you wanted to go for a run, you wouldn't just like get out of bed and walk out your door and sprint up a hill, right? Because your muscles aren't ready for that. Your muscles need time to like get some blood flow and move gently, and that's what humming does. It's a really soft way to get your vocal folds to vibrate against each other. It helps clear off any gunk that like might have built up while you haven't been phonating. Because, you know, if we don't talk for a little while, we're not making noise, the vocal folds kind of go to sleep a little bit, right? The muscles get really relaxed and kind of just chill out and don't do much. So it's really important to innovate them, right? Get some movement through them, but do it in a gentle, easy kind of way before you start doing the really, really active kind of process of voicing deliberately, right? So that's what humming does for me. And humming is also part of, for me, getting my body into the right framework and my mind into the right kind of space,
30
because
seconds.
humming activates your vagus nerve. And if you can get your vagus nerve activated, it keeps your nervous system in that rest and digest parasympathetic kind of state rather than that like slightly anxious nervous state that you can get into before performance.
I'm going to steal some of Deanna's time and add something into that. So what I'm
Yeah,
going to
be
add
quick.
is that I would do humming before I would do my exercise.
Yeah.
I like to work hierarchically, and I would always do something that is soft and easy before I do something more complicated to make sure that those chords are doing the right thing. So for anybody listening, that way around would be a better way to do it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Got it in. Got it in.
All right.
Five.
So now to kind of cap off this beautiful subsection, we're going to talk about SOVTs. And we've talked about that, quite a bit on this podcast. SOVTs, in case you didn't know, are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. So to break that down even further, so semi-occluded means partially closed because you are partially closing your mouth. Vocal tract exercises, because you're doing exercises to help your vocal tract. And the reason that this works so well is because it actually builds pressure in the back of your throat, and that helps your vocal cords strengthen. And am I saying this right? Deanna and Tessa could definitely probably explain this better than I could, but
No,
as far as I
great.
know, okay, it creates pressure in the back of your throat, which helps exercise your vocal cords, essentially. So what you're going to do a SOVT exercise is you are going to, there's a couple different ways you could do it. Humming, you need to definitely know how to hum. You're going to get a glass of water. And when I say glass, it needs to be one of those taller boy glasses.
Tessa's got a perfect example there.
And then you're going to get a straw. Now, it's not one of those thick McDonald's straws. You're going to get a straw that's kind of smaller in diameter. They sell them on Amazon. You can get them. There's super tiny, not super tiny, but just smaller in diameter than like normal straws you would get at a fast food restaurant.
30 seconds.
You're going to stick it inside the water, and you are going to blow and hum gently so that you kind of create bubbles, and that's going to put pressure in the back of your throat. So go ahead and blow and hum just for about 30 seconds, or not 30 seconds, just for about like 10 seconds or so. Just like that.
Like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Thank you for the demonstration, Tess.
No.
And that's, you can also, if you don't have a straw and you don't have water, you can actually just do it by kind of closing your lips and kind of using your fingers and humming that way. I'm going, but you kind of want to have a little buzz on your lips, and that's how you know it's working. Okay, that's it.
I'm going to add one quick sentence into that because, Ashton, you did a beautiful, beautiful job explaining it. But one of the key things is that it is a tension reducer on your throat. So tension reduction is the thing that it's really, really specific for. You nailed it, Ashton. Well, and Deanna wants to add something too.
It realigns your vocal folds.
Yes.
So particularly this is even helpful. It's great as a warm-up, but it's also excellent as a cool-down because if you have done anything vocally challenging, you really want to give your vocal folds an opportunity to realign. And that back pressure that you create, because the air can't escape through your mouth, it has to go somewhere, goes backwards, right? And it kind of like meets up with the pressure coming up from your lungs and realigns your vocal folds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're magical, magical things. Use them, team. Use them.
Google them.
Beautifully said. All right. We are flying through this. I'm so proud of us, by the way.
Don't make it long now. Don't make it long now.
Okay. So the next subsystem we're going to talk about is resonance. So go ahead and take it away, Tess. Talk about resonance.
Yeah, so we're talking about resonance. This is where the energy of the voice is vibrating in resonant chambers. So your resonant chambers can be down in your chest. They can be orally focused, so in the mouth. They can be nasally focused, up in the nose. So we can move the resonance around our body, the energy of the voice, where the sound is coming from. So my exercise for this is a beautiful Patsy Rodenberg exercise, and it's called, I fucking love that woman. Man, I want to meet her, and I just want to squeeze her, and I want to be friends. Yeah. I just got all the feelings about Patsy. It's called intoning, and it's a really, really quick way to jump into a forward-focused resonant voice. Now, when I say forward-focused, what that means is if I have a back-focused resonance, it's down lower on my throat, and it's down here. If I have a forward focus, it sounds much more like my natural speaking voice that you've already been hearing. I could make it more forward if I wanted to, and it goes more into my nose, but I don't need to go that far. I just want it to be feeling nice and forward on the lips and more orally focused. So what I use is literally counting from 1 to 2 to 3, but we're not going 1, 2, 3. We're putting in a legato feel, so a flow. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, and you can hear how my voice is already shifted forward versus 1, 2, 3. So you want to put that nice legato feel in. What you can do at the beginning, and it's also a sneaky semi-occluded vocal tract exercise.
30 seconds.
As you go to say 1, hold that W. I know it's an O because you spell one O-N-E.
It's a W sound.
But it's a W sound. So you hold that W for just a moment, and then you use the N to project yourself into that forward resonance. So it goes 1 like that. So everybody give it a go.
1.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
And then you use the beginning of your 1 to move into your 2, into your 3. 1, 2, 3, and then your voice is really well forward in place. No, I wasn't done.
That was awesome. Well done.
I actually was. That's intoning, team. And if you haven't read Patsy Rodenberg, The Right to Speak, oh my God, go and do it. It's amazing.
Go do it. Okay.
Deanna.
So resonance for me, what I like to talk about is modal resonance, because often, particularly voice talent, they try to sound like someone or something else, right? And it's actually really important these days that you know what you sound like, right? And yes, we can move our resonance around in all sorts of different places and create all sorts of different effects of that. But if we don't understand where we natively sit with our resonance, it's really hard to just connect to sounding like us, right? So the way I like to talk people through this is by checking where the vibrations happen when you're just talking naturally and natively, right? So you can do this by just moving your hands around your body. So you might want to start with your hands like low down on your chest and just talk, right? Like just talk the way that you talk when you're having a conversation with someone and feel where the vibrations sit. Move your hands up into your throat, sort of put your hands on your throat and see how much vibration you feel there. Try the sides of your face and see how much vibration's there, maybe the tip of your nose. Might want to try your forehead and the top of your head, right? And if you just move your hands around those places while you're speaking, what you'll discover is where your vibration sits natively, right? And then next time you're in front of a microphone, if what you need to do is sound like you and you need to sound natural and authentic, which is a really big thing in voiceover these days, you might want to use that kind of sense of vibration to align yourself with your natural modal resonance. So for me, I'm really chest and throat, very, very chest and throat oriented. And I've got a little bit of a cold at the moment. And you'd think that maybe that would sort of put my resonance forward into my nose a little bit more. But actually, there's no resonance there at all. It's all blocked up right now, right? So there's fuck all vibration going through my nose and face right now. I'm really heavily resonating through my throat and my chest. So that's what I like to teach people about resonance. I think it's a really valuable way to understand your native position of your voice and where you naturally resonate, because that's going to be where you have a lot of natural strength. And so leaning into that's really important.
I really love that. I think that's just a beautifully simple way to like educate yourself on how you function as a human being, as a vocal artist. Okay, so now moving on, I have kind of the opposite kind of thing from Deanna. So I have a little nasal resonator warm-up that I like to do. I was taught this by the amazing Kirsten Day. She is a fabulous business owner, studio owner, a super amazing animation coach. She's also just an incredible voice actor herself. I could go spend my whole 2 minutes just talking about the phenomenalness that is Kirsten Day, but I won't. So Kirsten was coaching me to do my animation demo at the time, and she's a fabulous animation coach. She is really, really good at what she does. And one thing we were trying to get out of me is to make, a lot of times when you are in animation and you are a female, you will be put up to make little boy voices. So we were working on my little boy voice to sound like a child who is male. So in order to do that, we had to really push my voice up into my nasal resonators. That was a really easy way for me to come up with my boy voice. And in order to do that, I had to really warm up those nasal resonators in my face. So what she taught me to do was to kind of lean my head forward so that you're kind of looking down. You're going to push sound up into your nasal resonators, and you're just going to rub your face. You look horrendous when you do this, but I promise it works. So it kind of sounds and looks like this. I know that it like sounds and looks horrific.
25 seconds.
But if you can
Keep doing it for 25 seconds.
I need a tissue. That just cleared out my sinuses.
Yeah, if you need to clear your sinuses, that's a good way to do it too.
Stick a tissue under your nose while you do this, people.
Yeah. It sounds weird and it looks even weirder, but I promise you, it'll help you get it right up into those nasal resonators. When you talk. Like, it'll just help you go straight up there. Okay, the end. Oh, awesome job, team. We're doing amazing. We have one final lightning round to go. And that final lightning round, we're going to talk about articulation. Take it away, Tess.
Woo! All right, so articulation is the way that different things above the vocal cord level articulate with each other to make sound. So this is the way that you shape sound. How are your lips moving? How's your tongue moving? How open is your jaw? All of those sorts of things. Even your velopharyngeal port. How much is it open? How much is it closed? For people who don't know what that is, that's the back of your soft palate opening and closing against your the back of your throat. So that's what your velopharyngeal port is. But for me, for articulation, I like to warm up the face first, because people go, oh, I'm going to do articulation. I'm going to move my tongue lots and I'm going to move my lips lots.
Straight into tongue twisters.
And then the sound, and then the rest of the face is dead. And I don't know about anybody else, but when you're trying to do a character voice, or even if you're doing like a happy radio commercial, you got to move your face. Your eyebrows are got to be active. Your eyes have to be active. All kinds of things. So my favorite thing that I like to do, and I also used to do this when I was a drama teacher with lots of my small kids, is something called lions and lemons. So all that happens is that as you do a lion, you stick your tongue out as far as you can, you make like a sound, and you spread your face as much as possible. And then you go to lemons, and in lemons, you squeeze and scrunch your face up as much as you can, like you've had a sour lemon. So I'm going to do it now. So you go lion, as wide as you can, mouth open, jaw open, eyes open, and then lemons, suck it all in and make it feel real weird. And then
30
lions.
seconds.
And then lemons. Lion.
Oh,
And then
wow.
you can do, it's great, isn't it? Your face is like, and
Like
then what you can
awake.
do, awake, and then what you can do is just kind of like move it around and scrunch it. And it doesn't have to be specifically tight and then loose. You can do whatever you want to do with it.
That's cool.
I'm
like
so
gurning,
glad
by
that
the way.
this is like on YouTube now.
All that,
This
like,
is amazing.
And also, you can do it with your fingers. If you're not, if that's not quite getting enough, get your fingers in there. And when you do your lemon, squish your face in with your hands and get it to help. And then the other way.
Can we get screen grabs of those, please?
I lost track of time. I was extremely distracted.
So that is my lion and lemon for my articulation.
Nice.
Get your face moving and look stupid, team. Go for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so mine is a little bit more specific than this, and this is about waking up the tongue muscles, jaw muscles, lip muscles, right? So one way that we can get muscles to activate is to put them under a bit of resistance, right? And the premise is, it's like doing squats with weight added, like you hold on to some dumbbells while you're doing your squats, right? And it adds more resistance to the muscles in your legs. And then when you take those weights away, suddenly the muscles work really efficiently because the extra resistance is gone. So I like to do that with my face. And the way I do that is by putting an obstruction in my mouth and then pushing hard against that obstruction with my tongue and my lips. Now, I like to use my finger because if you use something like a pen or a cork or anything else, you can sometimes overbite on that. And that extra tension in your jaw is not good for you. In fact, it's doing kind of the opposite of what we're looking to do here. What we want is application and release of that tension through the resistance, right? But if you're biting down on something hard because you're trying real hard to get it right, and you're like, right? Then all you're doing is maintaining a really like over tense kind of position of your jaw. So I like to use my finger because you won't bite your finger too hard. You've got pain receptors there, right? If you start biting down too hard, your brain will be like, stop it, that hurts, right? So I like to bend my finger so that like at the first knuckle, my finger's bent. I put that in between my teeth and then I say tongue twisters or something like that, but over-articulated, really pushing the tongue and the lips lots and lots against that finger. And I might say them 2 or 3 times. Then I'll take my finger out and I'll say that tongue twister again. And the ease with which that tongue twister is articulated is amazing. Have a go. Like you can actually have a go now if you want, but we're out of time. So.
I actually have something to add to that, Deanna, because it's really, really important. When you're doing your SOVTs with a straw, you must hold the straw with your hand.
Yes.
Because if you hold it with your lips, you're adding tension into your face and the exercise is not as effective. Yeah. It's the exact same principle. Make sure that you're holding on to your straw because, it just helps that way. And also, if you're using something like a cork, this used to happen in speech therapy all the time. People used to accidentally inhale the cork and it was a real problem. So just be cautious with whatever you're putting inside your mouth, please.
Fingers are good. They're attached to your hand.
They used to put strings on them so they could pull them back out.
Get out.
My God.
Not a fucking joke. Jordan!
Wow. Yeah, it's really hard to really hard to swallow your finger. Really hard.
Okay. So the last articulation exercise we are going to do, this has been such a fun time. But the last thing I'm going to talk about is also from the fabulous Kirsten Day. I'm going to mention her again because she taught this to me as well. And I really love what Deanna said about doing kind of like adding dumbbells to your exercise. It's kind of the same type of thing where it's going to exercise your tongue to the point of exhaustion so that it kind of builds strength over time. And it also warms it up really nicely for it to be nice and loose so that you can use it properly when making all of the sounds you need to make when you are speaking and you need to be heard very clearly. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your tongue and you're going to swipe it across your top teeth, the front and the back of your top teeth, as well as the front and the back of your bottom teeth. And you're just going to do that over and over again until it gets tired, until it gets kind of exhausted. This may vary in the length of time depending on who you are. It varies from person to person depending on how strong, quote unquote, your tongue muscles are. If you do a lot of tongue things, it may be stronger.
It also also depends on how tight the root of your tongue is. If you've got a lot of tongue root tension, you will fatigue doing this really, really fast. But that's exactly why you should be doing it.
Yeah, I'm getting real tired.
It's gonna release that the back of your it's gonna release that tension back there, and it's going to give you an awareness of how tight that space is, and maybe give you an awareness of where you need to work a little bit more for your articulation. Okay, Tessa, are you tired yet?
Yeah, I'm real tired. Fun tip though, as you're doing this, if you're starting to get physically tired, you can actually clasp your hands behind your head, just to support your head, and you can actually do it for a little bit longer because it helps take the weight off. So you can sit and do it that way, which is really, really helpful.
Genius.
And the game is over.
Yay! I think we won. We won the game.
We won?
We all won. Yeah, we all won. We're all winners today. That was super fun. Super informative. I loved doing that with you guys. I think we got a lot of information out in a small amount of time. And I don't know. I think that was fabulous. I'm a little biased, but I think that we're pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. Let's move on to one of our favorite things on this podcast. Yours and my favorite. Sounds we can't make. No, we're also going to do this kind of lightning quick because, we're in that space. So let's try to make this fun and quick too. Producer Jordan, what is our sound for today?
Well, I don't know if we can name and fame her or not, but it's actually a friend of Tessa's.
It is.
Do you want to introduce her, Tessa?
So this is my lovely friend, Frauke. Now, when this first came up, she was like, we were just talking, and in the middle of her sentence, she's like, Tessa, I've got a sound you can't make. And I was like, well, go on then. So we filmed it, and we're putting it here now. So yes, she's my lovely friend, Frauke. She did this for us.
Here we go. Oh.
One job.
I'll play it again.
She's able to make herself sound like an owl hooting.
Now, when she's doing this, is her mouth open or is she like whistling?
I'll show you. You want to see?
Oh, yeah.
Bring it through her rolled tongue. Okay, let's all have a go.
Okay.
All right, I'll go
Tess,
first.
you're up
So
first.
I actually couldn't do this when I did it the first time. I couldn't figure it out. So can't do it. I can't get like.
It's all breath. Like there's
all
no
breath.
Yeah.
It's all breath.
I'm too much on voice.
Too much on voice, yeah.
I can't get the sound to come out unless I voice it.
Yeah,
me too.
I can't get that to work.
When she described it to me, she's like, it's really heavy. And if you watch her, she's going, so she's taking in lots of air and pushing it out really, really quick. She's also got a little bit of flex in her cheeks. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but.
That's just hoarse. That was me just being hoarse.
So when I was little, when I was young, I couldn't whistle like traditionally. I can't really still whistle traditionally, like just putting my lips together. So I would stick out my tongue and do a whistle. But now that I'm an adult, I can't do it anymore. But I feel like if I could do that, I might be able to do the owl hoot sound. I wonder if that's how she's making it. Like I used to go, I can't do it anymore. I can't whistle with my tongue out. But I used to be able to do it when I was a little kid. That's interesting.
This is really good for sounds I can't make. We're all just like breathing around.
I can't do without voicing. Like if I don't voice, no sound comes out.
Yeah. It's like
and it's making me head spin. Oh my God.
Yeah. Too much exhalation, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
I'm getting really head spinny.
But maybe it's also like just the way that her mouth is like formed.
Shaped.
You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just, like a genetic thing.
I honestly don't know. She is she's German, so her accent is German. Like maybe that plays a part in it. I don't think it would.
Can you do it, Jordan?
No, I think I'm going to have the same problem. I'm going to try and voice it as well. That made sense when you said that, Dan. I was like, I could make it, but it'll be with my voice. So.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. I'm just making a noise with my voice.
Just making an owl noise.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is that we can all roll our tongue. So that's cool. We found that out today.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I can't do it either. I honestly, she tried to get me to do it for like a good 5 or 10 minutes. And I was like, dude, I do not understand what is going on here. So,
wow. Cool. Sounds we can't make.
Sounds we can't make.
We definitely couldn't make it. That's for sure. Definitely one that I think it's for sure we can say you found one we can't make. So thank you so much to Tessa's wonderful friend. How do you pronounce her name?
Frauke.
Frauke. What
Thank
a
you,
beautiful
Frauke.
name.
Thank you, Frauke.
Thank you, Frauke. If you would like to give us a sound to see if we could make it or not, we would love to hear from you guys. You can reach us on any and all of these social medias out there. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Or, you can give us the good old email at thegoodtalkerspodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out our website. That's pretty cool, too. You can find us there. We love to hear from you guys. Send us a voice note. Send us a sound that you want us to make. Send us a story that we could tell from the booth. We would love to hear from you. We love each and every time that we hear from you guys. It's such an uplifting experience. Please don't stop. We love you.
Yeah.
And on that note, we are going to take off. And we hope that you enjoyed this episode. We sure enjoyed making it for you. And we will see you around next time. Everyone say goodbye.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
That was fun.
Yeah.
See you guys.